Captain Elena Vasquez gripped the command chair as another explosion rocked the destroyer Defiance. Sparks flew from damaged control panels and the ship's lights flickered. Through the main screen she could see the massive Zephyrian dreadnoughts closing in like giant metal sharks. "Captain, hull breach on Deck 7, shouted Lieutenant Chen from his station. "We're losing air fast." Elena's jaw tightened. The Defiance was the last human ship still fighting in the Kepler 442 system. Every other vessel in Earth's final defense fleet was either destroyed or drifting as burning wreckage. Behind them, evacuation ships carried the survivors from New Byzantium colony, 847 souls who represented some of the last free humans in the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire had been conquering worlds for 300 years. Their technology was far ahead of anything humans had built. Their ships were faster, their weapons stronger, and their armies seemed endless. One by one, they had crushed every species that stood against them. Now it was humanity's turn to fall. "How many escape pods do we have left?" Elena asked. 12 pods, Captain. "They can hold everyone aboard," replied Commander Torres, her second in command. Elena nodded. She had known this moment would come. The Defiance was badly damaged and outnumbered 50-1. There was no way they could win this fight. But maybe they could buy time for the evacuation ships to escape. "All hands, this is the captain," she announced over the ship's communication system. "Abandon ship. Get to the escape pods now." "That's an order." "Captain, what about you?" Torres asked. Elena looked at the tactical display. The Zephyrian ships were getting closer. Their lead vessel was a massive command ship, easily 10 times the size of the Defiance. If she could ram it, the explosion might damage their sensors long enough for the evacuation fleet to jump to hyperspace. "I'm staying," she said. "Someone needs to keep them busy." "Captain, you can't." "That's an order, Commander." "Get our people out of here." Torres hesitated, then saluted. "It's been an honor serving with you, Captain." Elena watched as her crew ran toward the escape pods. These were good people. Engineers, weapons specialists, medics. They had families waiting for them somewhere in the outer colonies. They deserved a chance to live. The last escape pod launched just as the Zephyrian ships opened fire. Energy beams cut through space, missing the small pods but hitting the Defiance hard. Elena felt the deck shake beneath her feet as entire sections of the ship exploded. She set course for the Zephyrian command ship and pushed the engines to maximum power. The Defiance shot forward like a bullet, heading straight for the enemy vessel's reactor section. "Come on, old girl," Elena whispered to her ship. "One last run." The Zephyrians realized what she was doing. Their smaller ships moved to intercept, firing everything they had. The Defiance shook as energy beams tore through its armor. Warning alarms screamed from every speaker. Elena could see the alien command ship getting larger on her screen. Its hull was smooth and dark, covered with weapon ports and sensor arrays. Strange symbols marked its sides, probably the name of the ship in the Zephyrian language. 200 meters. 150. The impact was tremendous. The Defiance crashed through the outer hull of the command ship and kept going, smashing through deck after deck. Elena was thrown from her chair as the ship spun wildly. Metal screamed against metal. Lights exploded in showers of sparks. Then everything went quiet. Elena opened her eyes. She was lying on the floor of the bridge and something warm was running down her face. Blood. Her left arm felt wrong, probably broken. When she tried to move, pain shot through her ribs. Emergency lighting cast everything in a red glow. The main screen was cracked but still working. Through it, she could see she was inside the Zephyrian ship. Twisted metal and debris surrounded her on all sides. Footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. Heavy boots on metal deck plates. The Zephyrians were coming. Elena tried to stand but fell back down. Her legs wouldn't support her weight. She looked around for a weapon but found nothing within reach. All she could do was wait. The footsteps stopped outside the bridge. Elena heard voices speaking in the harsh, clicking language of the Zephyrians. Then the damaged door was torn away. 3 aliens entered the bridge. They were tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. They wore dark armor that seemed to absorb light. One of them carried a weapon that hummed with energy. Behind them came another figure. This one was different, taller than the others, with silver markings on his armor that probably showed high rank. His eyes were not entirely black like the others, but had flecks of gold in them. The ranking Zephyrian looked at Elena lying on the floor. She met his gaze and did not look away. She had seen too many friends die today to show fear now. So, the alien said in perfect English, "You are the one who damaged my ship." Elena said nothing. There was nothing to say. "I am Fleet Commander Kethvar," the alien continued. "I have destroyed 47 worlds. I have ended the lives of billions of beings. Your species is just one more entry in my records." He walked closer, his boots crunching on broken glass and debris. "Your ship was small and weak. Your weapons were primitive. Yet you chose to attack my command vessel directly." "Why?" Elena found her voice. "Because someone had to." Kethvar studied her face. "You knew you would die." "Yes." "You knew your attack would not stop us." "Yes." "Then why did you do it?" Elena struggled to sit up straighter. Pain flashed through her body, but she refused to show it. "Because those are my people out there, and we don't abandon each other." The fleet commander was quiet for a long moment. Elena could hear the sound of repair crews working somewhere in the ship. Sparks flew from damaged systems nearby. "In 300 years of conquest," Kethvar said slowly, "I have seen many species. Some fought bravely. Others surrendered quickly. But I have never seen one being sacrificed themselves for the mere chance that others might escape." He signaled to one of his soldiers, who raised his weapon. Elena closed her eyes and thought of her crew and their escape pods. By now they should have reached the evacuation fleet. The ships would be jumping to hyperspace, carrying the survivors to safety. She had bought them that time. It was enough, but the killing shot never came. "No," Kethvar said. "This one is different. Take her to the medical bay. Keep her alive." Elena opened her eyes in surprise. "Why?" The fleet commander looked down at her with those strange gold-flecked eyes. "Because," he said, "I have never seen anything like you before. You will be my trophy. The last human in Zephyrian space. A reminder of the species that chose to fight until the very end." As the soldiers lifted her from the wreckage, Elena's last thought was of her crew. They were free. They would carry word of what happened here to the outer colonies. Humanity would know that Earth's last fleet did not surrender. That would have to be enough. 3 years had passed since the fall of the Kepler 442 system. Elena Vasquez stood in the center of the arena on Nexus Prime, the capital world of the Zephyrian Empire. Sand covered the floor beneath her feet and high walls rose on all sides. Thousands of alien spectators filled the seats above, their voices creating a constant buzzing sound. She wore simple fighting clothes and carried only a basic energy sword. Across the arena, her opponent waited, a massive creature with 4 arms and thick purple skin. The crowd cheered as it roared and beat its chest. "Fighters ready," announced the arena master's voice through hidden speakers. Elena had fought in this arena many times over the past 2 years. After her injuries healed, Kethvar had decided she would provide entertainment for the noble families of the Empire. They liked watching the last human fight for her life. The 4-armed creature charged forward, swinging heavy clubs in each hand. Elena rolled to the side, letting it crash into the arena wall. The crowd made disappointed noises. She had learned something important during her time as a prisoner. Humans were different from other species in ways the Zephyrians did not understand. Where other beings relied on strength or special abilities, humans used their minds. They adapted. They found new ways to solve problems. The creature turned and came at her again. This time Elena was ready. She ducked under its swinging arms and struck with her energy sword, hitting it in the leg. The creature stumbled but did not fall. In the 3 years since her capture, Elena had learned the Zephyrian language. She listened to the guards talk. She studied their culture and their history. She learned about the other species they had conquered. The crystal-based Lumina who could bend light. The hive-minded Kron who shared thoughts across vast distances. The shape-shifting Veil who could become anything they touched. All of them had been broken by the Empire. Their homeworlds were turned into slave colonies. Their people worked in factories and mines, building weapons for more conquests. The Zephyrians had a system for this. First, they crushed military resistance. Then they used special devices to control the minds of survivors, making them willing servants. But the mind control did not work on humans. Elena had figured this out during her first year of captivity. The guards had tried to use the devices on her several times, but nothing happened. She pretended to be affected, acting docile when they expected it. This was why the Zephyrians wanted to destroy humanity completely. They could not be controlled like other species. The 4-armed creature made another charge. Elena jumped high, using her sword to vault over its head. She landed behind it and struck again, this time hitting a nerve cluster she had identified earlier. The creature fell forward, unconscious but alive. The crowd fell silent. In Zephyrian culture, gladiator fights were supposed to end in death. But Elena had never killed a sentient opponent. She would knock them out or disable them, but she would not murder for entertainment. This always made Kethvar angry. After each fight, he would punish her. Reduced food, solitary confinement, beatings from the guards. But she refused to change. Killing was not what humans did unless they had no choice. The human wins again, announced the arena master, but shows weakness by sparing her opponent. Elena walked toward the exit tunnel, ignoring the mixed reactions from the crowd. Some aliens seemed impressed by her fighting skills. Others made angry noises because she had not provided the blood they wanted to see. As she reached the tunnel, Elena looked up at the viewing box where Kethvar sat with other high-ranking Zephyrians. The fleet commander was watching her with those strange gold-flecked eyes. After 3 years, she still could not read his expression. But something was different today. One of the other Zephyrians in the box was pointing at a small device in his hand. Elena caught a few words in their language: transmission and outer rim and humans alive. Her heart began to beat faster. Could it be possible? Back in her cell, Elena lay on the narrow sleeping platform and stared at the ceiling. The cell was small and bare with only basic necessities, but the walls were thick and the guards rarely came at night. This gave her time to think. If there were still humans alive in the outer rim, that changed everything. For 3 years, she had believed she might truly be the last of her species. The propaganda broadcasts always said that humanity had been completely destroyed. But propaganda was often lies. She thought about Admiral Marcus Chen, who had commanded the evacuation fleet at Kepler 442. He was a smart man and a good leader. If anyone could keep human survivors safe, it would be him, and Elena's sacrifice had bought them time to escape. The question was, what were they doing with that time? Elena had observed the Zephyrian Empire carefully during her captivity. They were powerful but not perfect. Their technology was advanced, but they relied on it too much. Their society was rigid, with strict rules about who could do what. They did not expect resistance from conquered species because the mind control usually prevented it. But humans were immune to mind control. And if there were humans still free, they would be learning, adapting, finding ways to fight back. A new sound interrupted her thoughts. Footsteps in the corridor, but not the heavy boots of guards. These were lighter, more careful. Someone was trying to move quietly. Elena sat up as her cell door opened. A small figure entered, one of the Lumina, the crystal beings from the third moon of Altair. Its body glowed with a soft blue light. "You must not speak loudly," the Lumina whispered in broken standard. "Guards will hear," Elena nodded. She had seen this one before, working in the arena's maintenance tunnels. "You are Elena Vasquez?" the Lumina asked. "Yes. We have message. From humans in Outer Rim." Elena's breath caught. "What message?" The Lumina looked nervous. "They say they are coming. Say they will rescue all humans in Empire space. Say to be ready. When? Soon, during Festival of Dominion. When all leaders gather here on Nexus Prime." Elena knew about the festival. It happened once every 5 years when the Empire celebrated its greatest victories. All the fleet commanders and planetary governors would be on the capital world at the same time. "How do you know this?" Elena asked. "We have network," the Lumina explained. "All conquered species. We share information in secret. Your people, they contact us through old trade routes. They say humans never abandon each other." The Lumina reached into a pouch and pulled out a small device. "They send this. Say you will know how to use it." Elena took the device. It was human technology, a basic communication unit but modified with parts she did not recognize. Probably built from salvaged Zephyrian equipment. "Tell them," Elena said, "that I will be ready. And tell them something else." "What?" Elena thought about all the other species in the Empire. The Lumina, the Kron, the Veil, and dozens of others. All of them broken by centuries of slavery. All of them waiting for someone to show them that resistance was possible. Tell them that I am not the only one who wants to be free. The Lumina's glow brightened slightly. "You think others will fight?" "If they see that fighting is possible, yes. The Empire rules through fear. But fear only works if people believe they have no choice. And humans will give them choice." Elena smiled for the first time in months. Humans will give them hope. After the Lumina left, Elena activated the communication device. Static filled her cell for a moment, then a familiar voice came through. Elena, is that you? It was Admiral Chen. After 3 years, hearing a human voice again made her eyes fill with tears. I'm here, Admiral, she whispered. I'm alive. Thank God, we're coming for you, Elena, we're coming for all of you. How many? She asked. More than you might think. We've been busy out here. Building ships, making alliances, learning everything we can about Zephyrian technology. Elena wiped her eyes. The Empire is stronger than you know, Admiral. They have weapons, defenses, and we have something they don't, Chen interrupted. We have humans who refuse to give up. Just like you did at Kepler 442. Elena looked at the small device in her hands. Such a simple thing, but it represented something the Zephyrians had never faced before. Organized resistance from a species they could not control. What do you need me to do? She asked. Be ready, Chen said. And remember, we never leave anyone behind. Admiral Marcus Chen stood in the command center of the hidden base, looking at the holographic display that showed the Nexus Prime system. The secret facility was built inside a dead asteroid in the Andromeda Galaxy's outer rim, far from any Zephyrian patrol routes. Final equipment check, he announced to the 12 people gathered around the tactical table. Ghost status report. Commander Jake Morrison, call sign Ghost, was a thin man with scars on his face from the evacuation of New Terra. He had become their best infiltration specialist. Stealth suits are working perfectly, Ghost reported. We can stay invisible to Zephyrian sensors for up to 6 hours. That should be enough time to get in and out. Chen nodded and turned to the next person. Tanaka, what about the hacking equipment? Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka was young but brilliant with computers. She had spent 3 years studying captured Zephyrian technology, learning how their systems worked. I've got 3 different virus programs ready, Tanaka said. One will copy their databases. Another will plant false information in their networks. The third will broadcast the locations of all human prison camps to our allies. Good. Tank. Weapons check. Sergeant David Williams was a massive man who had earned his nickname by personally destroying 6 Zephyrian tanks during the defense of Luna City. He grinned as he patted the heavy energy cannon on his back. All weapons are charged and ready, Admiral. If we need to fight our way out, I can make a very big hole in anything they throw at us. The last member of the core team was Dr. Maria Santos, their field medic. She had served at the military hospital on Mars before the invasion and had saved hundreds of lives during the evacuation. Medical supplies are packed, she reported. I've also prepared special stimulants in case we find prisoners who are too weak to move quickly. Chen looked at each member of his team. These were some of the best humans left alive, and he was about to send them into the heart of enemy territory. But they had no choice. Elena Vasquez had sacrificed herself to save the evacuation fleet 3 years ago. Now it was time to return the favor. Remember the mission objectives, Chen said. Primary goal is to extract Elena. Secondary goal is to gather intelligence on Zephyrian military plans. Tertiary goal is to rescue as many other human prisoners as possible. What about the virus upload? Tanaka asked. That's now a primary objective too, Chen replied. Dr. Kim's research has confirmed something important. Dr. Sarah Kim stepped forward. She was their top scientist, the person who had figured out why humans were immune to Zephyrian mind control. The immunity is genetic, Dr. Kim explained. Every human has it. The Zephyrians know this, which is why they want to eliminate us completely. But here's what they don't know. The immunity can be transferred to other species through a special vaccine. Ghost raised his eyebrows. You mean we can make other aliens immune to mind control? Exactly. But we need access to a Zephyrian medical database to create the vaccine. That means getting into their computer systems on Nexus Prime. Chen activated a new display showing detailed scans of the capital world. Nexus Prime was a massive planet with 12 major cities and hundreds of military installations. The capital city alone had over 50 million inhabitants. The Festival of Dominion starts in 2 days, Chen said. Every important Zephyrian leader will be on the planet. Their security will be at maximum levels, but it also means their attention will be divided. He pointed to a red marker on the map. Elena is being held in the Grand Arena complex here. Our intelligence says she's scheduled to fight during the main ceremony. Fight who? Tank asked. Fleet Commander Kethavar himself. The same alien who spared her life 3 years ago. The room was quiet for a moment. Everyone knew that Kethvar was one of the most dangerous Zephyrians in the Empire. He had personally led the conquest of dozens of worlds. So we extract her during the fight? Ghost asked. No, Chen said. We use the fight as a distraction. While everyone is watching the arena, we hit multiple targets simultaneously. He highlighted several locations on the map. Ghost, you'll infiltrate the prison levels below the arena. Intelligence suggests there are thousands of human captives down there. People we thought were dead. Tanaka, you'll hack into the main computer center here. Chen continued, pointing to a tall spire in the city center. Download everything you can and plant the virus that will reveal all the prison camp locations. Tank and Santos, you'll be our extraction team, set up in position to provide heavy support when the others come out. What about the rest of us? Asked Captain Torres, Elena's former second-in-command from the Defiance. Chen smiled grimly. We're going to give the Zephyrians something they've never seen before, a direct attack on their capital city by a species they thought they had destroyed. Over the next day, the team prepared for the mission. They studied building layouts, memorized guard schedules, and practiced with their equipment. The stealth suits were based on captured Zephyrian technology, but improved with human engineering. The weapons were a mix of human and alien designs, optimized for maximum damage. Chen met privately with each team member to go over their specific objectives. When he reached Ghost, the infiltration specialist had a question. Admiral, what if we find more prisoners than we can carry out? Then we come back for them, Chen said without hesitation. We keep coming back until everyone is free. Ghost nodded. Just like Elena came back for us at Kepler 442. Exactly. The night before the mission, Chen couldn't sleep. He walked through the base's corridors, checking on the other survivors. In 3 years, they had built a small but determined community. There were engineers working on new ship designs, teachers running schools for the children, farmers growing food in hydroponic gardens. But everyone knew their ultimate goal was not to hide forever. It was to rescue the humans still trapped in Empire space, and to help other species break free from Zephyrian control. Chen stopped at the communication center, where a night shift operator was monitoring alien transmissions. The young woman looked up as he entered. Anything interesting? Chen asked. Actually, yes, sir. We're picking up a lot of chatter from conquered species. They're talking about the human in the arena. Apparently her fights are broadcast across the Empire. What are they saying? The operator smiled. They're calling her the one who will not break. Some of them seem to think she represents hope for all enslaved peoples. Chen felt a surge of pride. Even as a prisoner, Elena was still fighting, still showing the galaxy what humans were capable of. Any word from our contact network? Yes, sir. The Lumina confirmed that Elena received the communication device. She's ready for extraction. Also, we have confirmation that 17 species have agreed to coordinate uprisings when we broadcast the prison camp locations. Chen nodded. The plan was ambitious, maybe even impossible. They were going to attack the most heavily defended world in the galaxy with just 12 people. But it had worked before on a smaller scale. Human history was full of small groups accomplishing impossible things through determination and clever planning. The next morning, the team gathered in the hangar bay. Their ship was a modified Zephyrian courier vessel that they had captured and rebuilt. It looked exactly like the ships used by Imperial messengers, which would let them get close to Nexus Prime without raising alarms. Remember, Chen told them as they prepared to board, we're not just rescuing Elena, we're starting a revolution. Every species in the galaxy is watching to see if resistance is possible. Ghost checked his equipment one last time. No pressure then, Tank laughed. Pressure is what makes diamonds, my friend. As the ship launched from the hidden base, Chen thought about Elena Vasquez sitting in her cell on Nexus Prime. She had no idea that 12 humans were coming to get her. She had no idea that her refusal to surrender had inspired millions of enslaved beings across the galaxy. But she would know soon, because humans never abandoned each other, and they never stopped fighting. The ship jumped to hyperspace, beginning the long journey to the heart of the Zephyrian Empire. In 2 days, the Festival of Dominion would begin, and the galaxy would learn that humanity was not as dead as everyone believed. The grand arena of Nexus Prime had never seen so many spectators. Every seat was filled with alien nobles, military commanders, and government officials who had come for the Festival of Dominion. The massive dome overhead showed images of conquered worlds, celebrating 300 years of Zephyrian expansion. Elena Vasquez stood in the preparation chamber beneath the arena floor. Through the thick walls, she could hear the roar of the crowd above. Today was different from her other fights. Today she would face Fleet Commander Kethvar himself, the alien who had spared her life 3 years ago. A guard opened her cell door. "Time to go, human." Elena walked through the tunnel toward the arena floor. Her hands were steady, but her mind was racing. She had received a message through the secret network that morning. Her people were here, somewhere in the city. The rescue would happen today. The arena floor was covered with fresh sand. Banners showing the symbols of conquered worlds hung from the walls. In the center stood an elevated platform where the Emperor himself sat, surrounded by his most trusted advisors. Across the arena, another door opened. Fleet Commander Kethvar emerged wearing ceremonial armor that gleamed like silver. He carried an energy blade similar to Elena's, but his was larger and more ornate. "Citizens of the Empire," announced the arena master's voice. "Today we witness a special event. Fleet Commander Kethvar will demonstrate Imperial superiority by defeating the last known human in single combat." The crowd cheered loudly. Elena looked up at the viewing boxes and saw thousands of alien faces staring down at her. But she also noticed something else, small movements in the shadows near the exits. Her people were in position. Kethvar walked to the center of the arena. His gold-flecked eyes met Elena's across the sand. "You have been my prisoner for 3 years," he said, his voice carrying clearly in the huge space. "You have fought many battles in this arena, but you have never killed an opponent." Elena raised her energy blade. "I fight to survive, not to entertain. Today you will do both, or you will die." The arena master's voice echoed again. "Fighters ready, begin." Kethvar attacked immediately, his blade moving in fast, precise strikes. Elena backed away, deflecting his attacks but not counterattacking. She had studied the fleet commander during her imprisonment, watching recordings of his battles. He was skilled and experienced, but he fought like all Zephyrians, with overwhelming force and little creativity. "You fight defensively," Kethvar said as their blades clashed. "Is this human weakness?" "It's human intelligence," Elena replied, spinning away from his next attack. "We think before we act." As they fought, Elena was listening for sounds from outside the arena. Somewhere in the city, Ghost would be infiltrating the prison levels. Tanaka would be hacking the computer systems. Tank and Santos would be preparing for extraction. She needed to keep this fight going long enough for them to complete their missions. Kethvar pressed his attack, forcing Elena back toward the arena wall. 3 years ago you crashed your ship into mine to save your crew. Why did you do it?" Elena ducked under his blade and rolled to the side. "Because they were my responsibility. But you could have surrendered. Your crew would have become slaves, but they would have lived." "Living as a slave is not living," Elena said, bringing her blade up to block another strike. "Humans prefer death to surrender." The fleet commander paused his attack. "Yet you did not choose death when I captured you. Because I learned something interesting during my imprisonment." "What?" Elena smiled. "I learned that the Empire has a weakness." All around the arena, spectators were leaning forward to hear the conversation. This was not the blood sport they had expected. It was becoming a philosophical debate broadcast to the entire galaxy. "The Empire controls other species through fear and mind manipulation," Elena continued, still moving to avoid Kethvar's attacks. "But those methods don't work on humans, and if they don't work on us, maybe they don't have to work on anyone." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that slavery is not natural. It's a choice that your empire forces on others. But every choice can be changed." As she spoke, Elena was watching the crowd. Many of the alien spectators were not Zephyrians. They were members of conquered species brought here to witness imperial power. But instead of fear, she saw something else in their faces: interest, hope. Kethvar attacked more aggressively, clearly frustrated by her words. "The Empire brings order to chaos. We prevent wars between species." "No," Elena said, parrying his strike. "You prevent freedom. There's a difference." High above them, hidden cameras were broadcasting this fight across the galaxy. On dozens of worlds, enslaved populations were watching the human who refused to submit, even when facing the commander who had conquered their home planets. Suddenly, explosions echoed from somewhere in the city. The arena shook slightly, and several spectators looked around nervously. Elena knew what that meant. The rescue mission had begun. It seems, she said to Kethvar, that I was wrong about something. What? I thought I was the last human in your territory. But apparently I was wrong. More explosions, closer this time. Emergency alarms began to sound from the city outside. The arena's security guards were speaking rapidly into their communication devices. Emperor Zethkar stood up in his viewing box. What is happening? He demanded. Before anyone could answer, the main display screens around the arena flickered and changed. Instead of showing conquered worlds, they now displayed a map of the galaxy with red markers appearing on dozens of systems. Tanaka had successfully planted the virus. A human voice came through the arena's speakers. Admiral Chen's voice. Speaking in perfect Zephyrian. Citizens of the galaxy, he announced. What you are seeing are the locations of secret prison camps where humans and other species are being held as slaves. This information is now being broadcast to resistance networks across all Imperial worlds. Panic spread through the crowd. Some aliens ran for the exits. Others stood frozen in shock. But Elena noticed that many of the non-Zephyrian spectators were not panicking. They were watching the screens with intense interest, memorizing the locations. Kethvar stared at the displays in disbelief. This is impossible. Your species was destroyed. Human beings, Elena said, raising her voice so everyone in the arena could hear, are very difficult to destroy completely. We adapt, we survive, and we always come back for our own. The fleet commander turned back to her with his weapon raised. Then you will die here knowing your rescue has failed. Will I? Elena gestured toward the tunnel she had emerged from. Ghost was standing there, his stealth suit deactivated, holding an energy rifle. Behind him came dozens of humans, prisoners who had been freed from the cells below. At the same time, Tank and Santos appeared at other tunnel entrances, providing cover as more rescued humans entered the arena. The rescue, Elena said to Kethvar, has only just begun. The freed humans spread across the arena floor. They were thin and weak from years of imprisonment, but they moved with determination. Many of them picked up weapons dropped by fleeing guards. Ghost jogged over to Elena. Good to see you again, Captain. Good to see you too. How many did you find? Over 1,000 in the lower levels. More than we hoped for. Elena looked around the arena. The alien spectators were still watching, many of them filming with personal devices. This rescue would be seen across the galaxy within hours. She turned back to Kethvar, who still held his weapon but seemed uncertain whether to attack. 3 years ago, you spared my life, Elena said. You called me your trophy, but you made a mistake. What mistake? You thought one human would be a symbol of your victory. Instead, I became a symbol of resistance. And now everyone in the galaxy can see that resistance is possible. Kethvar looked around the arena at the freed humans, then up at the screen still broadcasting prison camp locations. This will not stop the Empire, he said. Elena smiled. Maybe not, but it will give hope to millions of slaves who thought they were forgotten, and hope is the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy. Above them, the sound of spacecraft engines echoed through the arena's dome. Chen and the extraction team had arrived in orbit. The revolution had begun. 6 months after the rescue at Nexus Prime, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Defiance Reborn, watching the tactical display show 17 different star systems. In each system, red warning lights indicated active combat zones. The ship was magnificent, larger than the original Defiance and built with technology from 6 different species who had joined the rebellion. Human engineering combined with Lumina crystal technology, Kron communication systems, and Veil adaptive armor. It was a symbol of what could be accomplished when free peoples worked together. Admiral, we're receiving reports from all liberation fleets, announced Commander Torres from the communications station. He had been Elena's second-in-command on the original Defiance and had insisted on serving under her again. Status report. Commander, Fleet Alpha has successfully liberated the prison camp at Rigel 7. 2,000 humans recovered, plus 5,000 Lumina and 3,000 Veil. Fleet Beta is engaging Zephyrian forces at Kepler 438. Fleet Gamma reports the prison camp at Wolf 359 is secure. Elena nodded. Operation Phoenix Rising was proceeding better than they had hoped. When the virus broadcast the prison camp locations 6 months ago, it had triggered uprisings on 47 worlds simultaneously. The Zephyrian Empire, which had never faced organized resistance from multiple species, was struggling to respond. "What about the Nexus Prime system?" Elena asked. "Long-range sensors show massive Zephyrian fleet movements," Torres replied. "It looks like they're pulling ships from frontier sectors to defend the capital." Elena studied the tactical display. The Zephyrian Empire was vast, but their strategy had always been based on overwhelming individual opponents. They had never faced a coordinated rebellion across dozens of systems at once. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Tanaka from her station. "Incoming transmission from Admiral Chen. Put him through." Chen's face appeared on the main screen. He was aboard the command ship Phoenix in the Vega system, coordinating the overall rebellion. "Elena, good to see you. How are the rescue operations going?" "Better than expected, Marcus. We've liberated 8 camps in the past week, but we're running into a problem." "What kind of problem?" Elena gestured toward a secondary display showing medical reports. "Many of the prisoners we're rescuing have been in captivity for decades. They're physically weak and psychologically damaged. Dr. Santos says it will take months of treatment before some of them can function normally." Chen's expression grew serious. "Are you saying we should slow down the rescues?" "No. I'm saying we need to do more than just rescue people. We need to give them a reason to keep fighting." "What do you have in mind?" Elena looked at the star chart on her display. At the center was the Nexus Prime system, heavily defended and still under Zephyrian control. We take the fight to their capital. We show the galaxy that the Empire can be beaten on their own world. Chen was quiet for a moment. "Elena, that's suicide. Nexus Prime has the strongest defenses in the galaxy. Orbital weapon platforms, shield generators, thousands of ships. 6 months ago, rescuing 1 human from their capital was suicide too. But we did it, and it changed everything." Through the bridge windows, Elena could see other ships of the Liberation Fleet, human vessels flying alongside alien craft from a dozen different species. The sight still amazed her. Each ship represented a world that had chosen freedom over slavery. "Admiral," interrupted Torres, "we're receiving a priority transmission from the Nexus Prime system." Elena raised her eyebrows. "From the Empire?" "No, ma'am. It's using Lumina communication frequencies." Elena and Chen exchanged glances through the view screen. "Put it through," Elena ordered. The transmission was audio only, but the voice was clearly alien, the musical tones of a Lumina speaker. "Liberation Fleet, this is Crystal Singer Veltar, speaking for the underground network of Nexus Prime. We have been monitoring your victories across the galaxy. The enslaved populations of the capital world are ready to rise up, but we need your help." Elena felt her pulse quicken. "This is Admiral Vasquez of the Liberation Fleet. What kind of help do you need?" "The Empire has activated new mind control transmitters across the planet. They are stronger than the old devices. Even species that were beginning to resist are falling back under Imperial control. We need the immunity vaccine that your Dr. Kim developed." Elena looked at Chen through the view screen. Over the past months, Dr. Kim had successfully created a vaccine that could make other species immune to Zephyrian mind control, but it required direct injection. They had been slowly distributing it through their rescue operations, but never on the scale of an entire world. "Veltar," Elena said, "delivering the vaccine to Nexus Prime would require us to get through their orbital defenses. That's exactly what they're expecting us to try." "Perhaps," the Lumina replied, "but we have information that might help. Fleet Commander Kethavar has been asking to speak with you directly." Elena felt a chill. She had not seen Kethavar since their fight in the arena 6 months ago. During the rescue, he had not tried to stop the humans from escaping. Instead, he had simply watched as they left, his gold-flecked eyes unreadable. "What does he want?" "Unknown, but he claims to have intelligence about Imperial defenses that he wishes to share with the Liberation Fleet." Chen leaned forward on his view screen. "Elena, this could be a trap. Or it could be exactly what we need," Elena replied. "Put me through to Kethvar." The transmission changed frequencies. After a moment, a familiar voice spoke in accented English. "Admiral Vasquez, I had hoped we would speak again, Fleet Commander. I'm surprised to hear from you. Are you? 6 months ago you told me that every choice could be changed. I have been thinking about that conversation." Elena gestured for Tanaka to start recording the transmission. "This conversation could be historic. the first time a high-ranking Zephyrian had made contact with the rebellion. "What do you want, Kethvar?" "I want to prevent the destruction of my people," he said simply. "The Emperor has decided to use the planet-killer weapon against any world that successfully rebels. He would rather destroy entire systems than lose control of them." Elena felt ice in her stomach. A planet-killer weapon could sterilize all life on a world in minutes. If the Empire was willing to use such a thing, it meant they were becoming desperate. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because," Kethvar said, "in our fight 6 months ago, you showed me something I had never seen before. You had the chance to kill me when I was distracted by the rescue. Instead, you chose mercy. That is not how Zephyrians think." Elena remembered that moment clearly. When Ghost and the others had appeared in the arena, Kethvar had turned to look at them. For just a second, his back was to Elena and his guard was down. She could have struck him down easily. "Why does that matter to you?" "Because it made me question everything I believed about strength and weakness. The Empire teaches that mercy is weakness, but your mercy was stronger than any weapon. It changed my mind about who the real enemy is." On the view screen, Chen was making urgent gestures. He wanted Elena to be careful, to not trust the Zephyrian commander too quickly. "What exactly are you proposing?" Elena asked. "A meeting. You and a small team on neutral ground. I will provide you with detailed intelligence about Nexus Prime's defenses, including the location of the planet-killer weapon. In exchange, I ask for your help in preventing a war that will destroy billions of lives." Elena looked around her bridge. Her crew was listening intently to every word. These people had followed her through impossible odds because they believed in what she represented. The idea that no one should be abandoned, that everyone deserved freedom. "Where and when?" she asked. "The abandoned mining station at Proxima 7. It's exactly between our positions. I will come alone." "I won't come alone. I would not expect you to. Bring whoever you trust." "But Admiral, if this is a trap, I gain nothing from it. My own people already consider me a traitor for not stopping your escape from the arena." Elena made her decision. 24 hours from now. We'll be there." After the transmission ended, Chen's image reappeared on the main screen. "Elena, I don't like this. It feels like a trap." "Maybe, but if he's telling the truth about the planet-killer weapon, we need that intelligence. And Marcus. What if he really has changed his mind? What if seeing humans refuse to surrender has made him question the Empire he serves?" Chen was quiet for a long moment. "What would you need from me?" "Full fleet support. If this is a trap, I want enough firepower nearby to level that mining station and everything around it." "You'll have it. But Elena, be careful. You've become a symbol to every enslaved species in the galaxy. If something happens to you, then someone else will take my place," Elena said firmly. "That's what humans do. We adapt, we continue, and we never give up." As the Defiance Reborn changed course toward Proxima 7, Elena stood at the bridge windows and looked out at the stars. 6 months ago, she had been a prisoner fighting for entertainment in an alien arena. Now she was leading a galactic rebellion against the greatest empire in known history. The irony was not lost on her. Fleet Commander Kethvar had spared her life because he wanted to keep her as a trophy, proof of humanity's defeat. Instead, he had given the galaxy exactly what it needed, proof that humans could not be broken.